it's Geoff Burras here. Looking at the list, I think everybody knows my story really. Very much part-time in the business. Full-time job is offshore oil industry. I've always worked at sea since 1971 when I left college. I've enjoyed it. I like travelling around, but one thing working at sea doesn't do, it doesn't prepare you for a 9-to-5 job. So there's no way really I could come ashore and do a 9-to-5 job. It's just not me. But what I have found is I like the work from home lifestyle. It's if you're looking at my blogs, like yesterday, there's a friend of mine who I worked with on the ships was travelling from Scotland. He'd been visiting his son in Scotland, back down to Cambridge, and he was passing through Preston, and he was staying over in Preston for the day. So we just dropped everything and went out and had a meal with them. Well, if I'd had a day job, a normal 9-to-5 day job, there's no way I'd been able to do that. Also, I think the day before, it was both the granddaughters were at the same school, and it was their end of school year assembly, and all the parents were invited in because they were being recognised for what they'd achieved over the year, and Stacey was made Pupil of the Year for her class for the year. And also, that meant that me and Sue could just go. We didn't have to ask the boss for time off. We could just go along to the school in the village, and that was it. So that got me thinking about, it's not just about the money. Well, it's not about the money really, it's what you can do with the money. And for me, it's that work from home lifestyle where you don't have a fixed time to work, like 9-to-5, or if you've got a part-time job, afternoons or mornings. You just fit it in your daily life, and if something crops up, you can shuffle everything around to fit that in. And like the lifestyle we have, that I've always been used to with working away for a few weeks and then coming home, is I'm very much, we please ourselves when I'm at home. Right, somebody's getting no sound.
The sound is actually coming through fine.
Oh, right, okay. Right, I think most of you can hear me. So yeah. Try not to jiggle. Yeah, I'm sitting in a rocking chair here. This is my comfy chair, but he said I'm not going to move about because it makes a mess of the sound. But yeah, I like the work from home lifestyle because it's pretty informal, and what we find is it's pretty disorganised as well. But we manage with that. I suppose we could probably get on a lot better if we were organised, but no, we're not terribly organised. Okay, so we'll get on with it. And goal setting is something that it's a fun subject to cover. It's something everybody enjoys doing when they get started, but it's something that you're not taught. Well, it's a long time since I was at school. It's something we weren't taught at school. I'm not sure nowadays. Maybe the kids do get more of this sort of thing. I've been up to school a couple of times this last week with various things going on at the end of term, and the way they teach kids now seems to have changed a hell of a lot, and there's a lot more. It's a lot more fun than it used to be in my day, I suppose. So yeah, goal setting and things like that. Maybe they do teach it in school now, but certainly we didn't, and it's something that's mega important. And if you listen to people like Richard Branson and the entrepreneurial type people, they emphasise that it is so important. And what Rob's always said, that if you don't set goals, you probably end up working for somebody who does. Because if you've got goals, it gives you something to aim for. In fact, if you haven't got goals, you can't score, basically. If you haven't got goals, something to aim at, what tends to happen is you just meander through life. And if you've got a day job, that is probably okay because your daily goals are set for you by the boss. You're told exactly what to do. And I suppose I've been quite lucky, really. I've always had, all right, what I wanted to do changed a little bit, but ever since I was at school, I remember in the last sort of year at school, we had the careers teacher there, and you went along to the careers advice, and we had a careers meeting. But I already knew what I was going to do. I already said, right, well, I'm going to nautical college, then I'm going to sea. So the careers guy was, oh, fantastic, right, you're sorted out. And that was it. I'd already decided that I wanted to go to sea, I wanted to travel, and the only way I could travel really was to get somebody else to pay for me to do it. I couldn't see a way of working a job and travelling as well, unless it was the job took me to places I wanted to go. And I suppose really I had a romantic notion of what life at sea was like. You know, you watch the movies of Humphrey Bogart and all this sort of thing, the old adventure movies which were set at sea, and you get an idea of what it's all about, and you get a bit of a shock when you get there, but I did still enjoy it, and I still enjoy it. What I enjoy about it, not all aspects of it, it's like any job. You can ask somebody in the best job in the world, somebody that's in a job that they really love, but they don't love everything about it. There's certain aspects of it that they really love, so the bad bits, you can put up with them to get the good bits. And that's the same with my job. Sometimes you get a lot of stress. I'm in a maintenance capacity on the ship. I'm an electronics technician. So sometimes things happen at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning when you're called out of bed and you think, what am I doing out here? I should be at home doing something else. But the good times outweigh the bad times. And also, goals are very personal. It's a big mistake to think that if your major goal is, say, I want the Ferrari, you can't expect that to switch everybody on. Like fast cars don't switch everybody on. Some people like other things. So you can't project your goals onto other people really. So goals are very personal. But we do find that houses, cars and holidays feature very highly in a lot of people's goal setting exercises. Everybody aspires to a better house wherever you are. What I find is, however big the house is, you fill it up. You've never got enough space. Not only the house, more so the garage. Like we've had a garage, and I think it must be 20 years since there's been a car in there. No room for the car in the garage. That much junk in there. So you always outgrow what you've got. So everybody's always looking for a bigger house, whether it's for a growing family or to house the things they've acquired over the years. Cars, yeah, are very popular. Different sorts of cars. I'm not really a sports car person. I'm more a four-wheel drive off-road sort of person. And everybody likes a holiday. But then you get the other things. Some people are into boats and some people are into horses, this sort of thing. So your goals are very personal. And what we've got on the slide really now is the beginnings of a goal board. Because it's very important to visualize your goals. And what most people seem to do is use the fridge door in the kitchen as a goal board, which is really good. It's something there that you see every day. Every day you go get the milk out of the fridge, you see your goals on the door. And that's something that you really need, is to have your goals in front of you all the time, because it's your goals that give you the inspiration, and the inspiration that gives you the motivation to keep going when you don't really feel like going. And as I was saying, like my goals and aspirations changed over the years. And goals come from dreams, really. And the significance of the picture here is the first goal I ever remember, like when I was a little nipper, my dad was a motorcycle engineer, and he was heavily into motorcycles, like to go to TT racing in the Isle of Man, this sort of thing. And so when I was like 4, 5 and 6, I used to think my goal would be, I want to race motorbikes. You know, I went along to motorcycle meetings with him and got inspired by this and thought, right, that's what I want to do. I want to race motorcycles. Fortunately, I grew out of that, so from a safety point of view, I'm probably still here now because I didn't go off racing motorbikes. But thanks to my dad, I do have 1 or 2 British motorbikes in the 1950s in a garage which I can play with when I feel like it. I don't ride them, but I like to play with them. So how do you get from dreams to goals? Well, when you're a kid, and kids really dream big because they've got, I don't know, I suppose they haven't had sort of the dreams knocked out of them by life. They've got no reservations really. Like the big thing for kids, I suppose, I want to be an astronaut. Everybody ever since I was a kid wanted to be an astronaut. So you can't say like, oh, well, you can. What happens is kids want to be astronauts. You don't become astronauts because everybody says, don't be stupid. You need to be realistic. But Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister for a long time. Was she being realistic when she was a little nipper and thought, oh, maybe I want to go into politics or something? And it's in these early years that you have these dreams, and if you're strong-willed enough to keep these dreams and to transform the dreams into goals, there's no reason you can't get to where you want to be. And like, as I say, there's lots of different dreams. All right, if you live in Texas, being a cowboy is not a big dream, probably. If you live in Blackpool, being a cowboy is a big dream. And horse riding, fighter pilots, all the sort of things people want to do. There's no reason why you can't do them, but you've got to transfer these dreams into goals. So how do you convert dreams into goals? Well, the main thing really is to put a time limit on them. If you've just got a dream without a time limit, you probably will never get there. It just sort of sits there in the back of your mind and you think about it when you're daydreaming and this sort of thing. Whereas if you say, right, well, I want a new car in 2 years' time, I wouldn't be able to afford this car. And it gives you something to build on, it gives you something to aim for, and it allows you to set yourself milestones along the way. Now, the significance of the photograph here is this is not any old SUV. Like the guy who owns this SUV is one of my workmates. He actually lives in California and spends his leave traveling around the States. So, and like, if you haven't seen one of these SUV things, which you've got the size that come out on hydraulic rams, so the thing, when you finish with it, it's like a big bungalow inside. And before you set off, it all collapses back onto itself and you've got a trip to drive off. They are absolutely amazing things. But, to be absolutely honest, I wouldn't like to try and drive them on the roads around where we live. So, converting your dreams into goals, yeah, you've got to set time limits on it. And what you've also got to do is visualize your goals in detail. Like, if you want to boat, it's not enough to say, right, I fancy going sailing, I need a sailboat. You've got to be specific. You've got to visualize it and say, right, well, this is the sort of boat I want. Do a bit of research. Go to your local yacht club, this sort of thing. Crew for somebody else. Find out what you like to do and find out exactly what you want. And then you're going to find exactly how much it's going to cost you. Same with the car. It's not enough to say, right, well, I want a new car. No, you've got to decide what you want. Do you just want a car for nipping down to the shops and back and going to work and this sort of thing? Or do you want something a bit more luxurious? Or maybe you've got a car that's good enough for nipping down to the shops, but you want something that's a bit more exotic for the weekends, this sort of thing. So you've got to be specific about your goals. You've got to know exactly what you're heading for. Because what that does is it allows you to decide, right, this is what I want, this is what it's going to cost. And realistically, this is the deadline for it. Like, the significance of the picture is, this is what Range Rovers are supposed to look like. Rob's Range Rover is very nice, but Range Rovers are supposed to go off-road. They're not yuppie vehicles. So know exactly what you want and set yourself a deadline. And there's different sorts of goals. All right, we've been looking at material things up to now, but with this business in particular, the company gives you the company's very structured in that there's goals for you there to go for. Like your interim goals, if you're at 13%, your next goal is 15%. If you're at 18%, your next goal is 21%. So you've got those goals built into the business. They're going to move you on. So it gives you something to aim for all the time. And it's the same with the foreign conferences. The foreign conferences are there to inspire people, so that if you want to go to Miami or you want to go to wherever it is next, the company sets down exactly what you've got to do. So it means that you don't really have to set your own milestones and things like that. The company do it for you. The company says, right, you want to go to the next foreign destination, this is exactly what you've got to do. So it gives you help along the way. And also, there's a lot of non-material goals as well. We've been looking at cars, houses, holidays, and this sort of thing. So the non-material goals, again, is like I've mentioned, the work-from-home lifestyle. Well, I want enough financial independence, say, that I don't have to go out and work, I can work my business at home and it brings in enough money to pay the bills and enough money to support the lifestyle I want. Or maybe there's some charity or something that you would like to support. So I know there's one or two people doing, we've got Margaret Curtis in Manchester who runs the business, and she does her business through Party Plan, but I think all the profit she makes goes into the charity which she is supporting. So there's things like that. It doesn't have to be material things, because most of us are materials, but not everybody. It's very important. All right, we've mentioned the big goals like the cars, the SUVs and this sort of thing, but you need small goals as well. Because if you're looking at big goals all the time, goals that are like 2, 3 and 4 years down the road, you need a lot of stamina to keep going when your goal's a long way away. So you need interim goals along the way, things that you can achieve today, things that you can achieve this week. So what I'd like you to do at the minute, being a little bit interactive, is put in the chat bar, can you just bring up some small goals that maybe you've got, or small goals that you think are a good idea to lead people on to the next stage of their business. A couple of pointers, maybe you need a new laptop. That's a small goal. A couple of months you should have enough money to do that sort of thing. Or maybe you need a new exhaust on the car, this sort of thing. New pair of shoes, something like that. Family trip to the cinema. Yeah, okay, again, this is not a material thing, but family days out. Like another week, at the end of this week, the grandkids are finishing school, so we've got 6, 8 weeks summer holidays now. So the kids are going to get bored at home. You're going to need to take, that's a boring one, pay your road tax. Yeah, I suppose so. But yeah, okay, pay your road tax, you've got to pay your bills, this sort of thing. It might be, maybe you're not able to pay your credit card off every month. Maybe you only pay the minimum on the credit card, so that might be another one. Right, well, instead of paying the minimum off on the credit card every month, I want to pay the balance off in a few months. Pay off the car, yeah, exactly. A lot of people have got loans for the car, this sort of thing. Pay off loans, yeah. And all this sort of thing. Maybe you've got a mortgage on your house, but if you had an extra £200 a month to pay off your mortgage, you'd be able to pay it off quicker, this sort of thing. Evening out with Sarah. Yeah, okay, that's one for Chris, evening out with Sarah. Yeah, that is another thing. If you're working the business as a couple, it's a good idea to sort of give yourself an evening off once in a while. Maybe once a week, right. Once a week we'll go out for the evening, this sort of thing. Because being your own boss, being self-employed is good in that it's very flexible, but it can mean you don't know when to quit. You just keep working and working and working. So it's important. So there's all these little small goals. So write down your goals, things that you want to achieve today. And it might be little things like, right, I want to get 200 cards out today, 200 business cards, 200 flyers, this sort of thing. I want to sponsor something to the business next month. All right, these might be quite boring, but the steps along the way to building your business. Oh yeah, big request for a babysitter. Oh, I love babysitting. It's great because, like, the kids are at an age now, the grandkids, where they virtually look after themselves more or less. You just sit there and referee. That's it. Sit there and referee between the two of them. So, okay, the next thing we want to look at is some bigger goals. So the same sort of thing. Can you just give us some bigger goals? Some personal bigger goals, really. What sort of thing do you guys like? Yeah, yeah, God likes kids' films. Yeah, I prefer watching kids' films. Shrek, things like this. Rather than adult films. Right, bigger goals, holiday with the family. Yeah. Yeah, holiday with the family, that's a good one. And maybe sort of more exotic holidays rather than going to Butlins in the UK. Maybe go to Disneyland in Paris or Disneyland in Florida or Disney in California. What else have we got here? Ought to be goal by the end of August. Yeah, well done, Ian and Ria. Yeah, that again is a business goal, so that's good. And that's exactly what the pay levels are for, really, is to give you something to aim for, to pull you along. Go on a holiday to Turkey, yeah, well, I must admit, Turkey's one place I haven't visited. I have been through the Bosphorus on a ship into Romania there, into the Black Sea, but I've never actually seen Turkey. But really, it's very nice. And, yeah, good stuff. So that's the bigger goals. And the thing about the bigger goals is they can look very intimidating, but what you need to do is take them one bite at a time. So what the company I work for, McDermott, they like to quote things called milestones. Because some of the projects we do, the oil rig fabrication and things, you might get a project which is 2 years in the making, building the oil platform, well, doing the planning, the design, building it, getting it out there, and then we putting it in. So it can be 2 and 3 years in a project. So along the way, they have these milestones, and it's exactly like interim goals. You need things along the way to draw you along. A better lorry, yeah. Now that's Anne. Anne needs a better lorry. We all need a better lorry. Because Anne's into horses as well, and yeah, we go along to some of the horse events, and we drew at people's wagons driving in for the horses. Going your sister's family to Disneyland, yeah, good stuff. Well, one of the things we've just sort of promotions we've brought in is if you go to Gold, well, the company's brought in, if you go to Gold and hold it for periods 9 and 10 or 8 and 9, I think it is, you qualify for the foreign conference. Well, we say if you hold it another 2 periods, you can use our villa in Florida and go to Disneyland. And yeah, everybody loves Disneyland. Right, one bite at a time. Shrink your big goals down into little, easy to manage sections. Right, I've got to look at the next slide because I can't remember what they are either. Right, it's important, as I say, it's not about the money, it's what you can do with the money, but the money allows you to keep track of things. So it's important to convert things into cash. Like, if you need a new car, like I was driving down the road last week, and at one of the car showrooms on the side of a Citroen or something, own this car for £199 a month. So straight away, you've got something there. Right, for £199 a month, I can have a new car. Alright, you pay a deposit as well, but you might have an old banger that you can trade in, and that gives you a deposit. So you know that if you can create an income of an extra £199 a month, you can afford this new car. And it's the same with everything else. And that is why you look at your goals in detail as well, and you're very specific about it, because you need to know how much it's going to cost you to finance it. Because once you know how much it's going to cost you to finance it, so maybe it's a holiday, maybe you want to go to Disneyland in Florida, and you say, right, well, to go to Florida to Disneyland for 2 weeks, it's going to cost me £2,000. So you say, right, well, I haven't got £2,000, I can't go next week. But if I book it 10 months in advance, or I plan it 10 months in advance, I've got 10 months to raise this £2,000. So that gives you something, right, 10 months, £2,000, that's, what, £200 a month. So you've got to raise another £200 a month. So you then know what you have to do. So in the early days, what you can do, in fact, I'm talking ahead of my slides really, but if you convert it to cash, it means you can track your progress. So let's have a look. Yeah, here you go. You've got to track it. I was reading a blog about tracking things before, and the ways to track things, the most popular way to track things, it went through all these Excel spreadsheets, custom-made software, but the most popular thing for tracking it is a pen and paper. Just write it down in a notebook. Don't get too highfalutin about it. Track it in a notebook. Because it's the goal thing again. If you don't have goals, if you don't track it, you don't know how close you are or what you've got to change to get there. So again, new car thing. Say you need a new car, you can finance that for £300 a month. So £300 a month, you could say, well, I can retail that, I can do it on my own. Well, yeah, you could. But the thing is, if you retail it, £300 a month, your new car, once you pay the car off, the reason for doing that is finished. Also, it means that if you're sick 1 month, you might be in trouble there. You might not be able to raise the £300 a month to pay the payments. Whereas if you do it partly on retail, but also you start sponsoring more people into your team, it's a double-barreled effect, really. You're getting the cash together to finance your goal, and also at the end of it, you've built your team up, so the money's going to keep coming in. So it's important to think about the way you're going to do it. Don't just retail everything. Use the goal as a reason for building your business and building your income. Yeah, I was talking ahead of this, the holiday at £2,000 a month. £2,000 for the holiday. So if you plan 10 months in advance, that means you've got to put away £200 a month. So in month one, bit of extra retail, you should be able to bring in an extra £200. But if you also brought 2 people into your team that month, it'll be a bit easier in month 2. So in month 2, you retail £200 again, and you also bring another couple of people in. So that makes it easier again. Month 3, you retail again £200, but you've also got an extra 4 people in yourself, bringing people into your team. So maybe you get 3 people in that time. And then on month 4, you won't have to do any extra retail. You've got you and 6 people bringing in more people, so maybe you'll be able to bring 4 people or more in. So that's the way of looking at it. It's like when you were at school, you used to do this compound interest thing. Like, if you had £10 on simple interest, you just got so much a month on it. Whereas with compound interest, it builds every month, because every month you've got the interest from the last month goes in there as well, and that's your people. So things snowball, and that's what they, what do they call it? The curve, the growth curve. Exponential growth curve, that's right. Not only does it increase, but it increases faster each month once you get it going. So that's what you're going to look at. Now, what I've been looking at as well, I've run out of slides now, is if you want a bit of help with this, there's loads of websites and things out there that talk about goal setting and help you about it. Because, all right, I've talked about it a little bit, but it's only, you know, really scratching the surface, I suppose. So let me just have a look, see what I can find here. I'll type something in. I'll type a couple of websites in that I found. I can't do it. Can you do it, Chris?
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to put a website in there.
Your browser.
Yeah.
You give me access to the click on the chat bar, I'll take it off the end of it.
Right, I'll click on the chat bar. Right, I'll copy that. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. There's one.
You can't do that.
You can't see that.
No, you need to click on the chat.
Yeah, I've done that.
And then click on the browser tab.
Oh, yeah.
And then it'll give you access to the browser.
Right, so I'll put it in the top. Oh, right, okay. Right, you can see it now.
Hold on.
Right. Right, well, the one I'm looking at now is just, the site is bigfishtopdogs.com, and then some numbers, and test your goals. Because one of the other things about goals is, if you've got goals in place, but you're not getting out there, you're not doing the business, you find that you're staying at home, you're staying in bed, you're not getting out and doing it, it's because you've got the wrong goals, basically. You've got to be passionate about your goals. It's got to be something that'll get you out in the rain when you don't really want to get out there. If you look on your fridge door and you've got a picture of that Ferrari, or whatever it is, and you think, yeah, I've got to go for this, it'll get you out in the rain. It'll make you work when you don't really want to work. You feel a bit under the weather. Like, yeah, where I work at sea, I'm the only electronics tech on there, so you're not allowed to be under the weather. It doesn't matter what it feels like. So it breaks at 4 o'clock in the morning, you've got to get up. But when you're working for yourself, you're your own boss, which is a double-edged sword, so you need something that's going to inspire you to get you motivated. Right, what's happening? I think.
You can't see anything on the chart. On the browser.
Can you not see the browser?
No, it's not. It still says it's loaded.
Alright.
I've got the big. If you put in the chat bar, if you copy the address, web address in the chat bar.
The big chat bar or the little one?
The little one.
Oh, it's in the little one.
Now, right, yeah.
Right, okay, it's coming on. Right, so if you've got a bit of patience, you might be able to say this bigfishtopdogs.com, and what the blog is about is testing your goals. So that you're testing that you've got the right goals for you, and what it's saying is you need smart goals. So your goals have got to be specific, you've got to be measurable, you've got to be accessible, attainable, accessible, yeah. You've got to stretch you. What's the art bit? Oh, they've got to be relative. Yeah, and they've got to be timed. There's also something in there. It's no good having a goal that if you're, I don't know, if last period you were only sort of £100 off 21%, next period you don't want a goal of being 21%. You want a goal of being gold. Because your goal has got to stretch you that little bit. If it doesn't stretch you, it's not really doing you much good. So
scroll down.
Yeah.
You should scroll down for everybody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not putting this really on here for you to read it now, but I'm just saying that you can go to this site, and in fact, if you go to bigfishtopdogs.com site, there's all sorts of stuff on there. If you look on the right-hand side, and the index, you've got all these categories, and under setting goals, there's 33 different posts. So there's loads of stuff in there to look at if you want to know something about setting goals, and how other people set goals, and how people in the corporate world set goals, how the people that have become successful have set goals, and that is what we're always telling you, is if you want to be successful, look at the successful people. If you want to be a gold distributor, talk to the people that are already a gold distributor. If you want to be bronze exec, talk to the new bronze execs. If you want to be SEDs, talk to the SEDs. If you want to be where Rob Foster is, get along to the success seminars, talk to Rob Foster. So you need to be associating with and talking to these people that are where you're aspiring to get to. Okay guys, that's just over half an hour, so I'm going to wrap it up now, and I hope that has helped. And as I say, there's loads of stuff on the internet about goal setting and this sort of thing, so don't be afraid of looking into it. And if you've got any questions, just come back to me and Sir Chris, and we'll let you know what we're looking at. In fact, yeah, I'll tell you one goal that's happening at the moment. For the last few years, as most of you know, not far from Hambleton, we've got some stables and a piece of land, and up on the hill above the stables there's a detached house which we've always thought it would be nice to have a place there. Well, it's not quite on the market, but we think we've persuaded them to sell, so we're trying to sort of put things together that we can get a house where we've got our stables rather than having to go 2 miles down the road every day. So that is a goal that we're working on at the moment, but we're working on it now, but it's something we've been aspiring to for the last 10 years, I suppose, since we got the place and the house we built. So yeah, that's what you've got to look at, is looking at your goals, looking a bit further down the road than you usually look, and just getting stuck in. Okay guys, that's me finished. I'll hand you back to Chris.
Brilliant, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's funny actually. Mum wanted stables to be right outside the back door when I was a kid. In fact, back when we were still digging trenches and making sand paddocks and all that kind of stuff. Slave labour when I was a child. No, it wasn't. Yeah, no, just scanning over something that Dad said. Sorry, Jeff, I keep forgetting this is recorded. Goal setting taught at school nowadays. Well, no, it's not really. We're dead lucky that our girls go to the top school in the country. And alright, that might be slightly by accident, because it was a school that I went to, but we actually used to live in Blackpool. And we, with a bit of jiggery poker, we found the best school in Blackpool was Leighton School, so we sort of jiggled about because there's catchment areas and all that kind of stuff, and we moved from rented house to get in the catchment area and then moved back out again because it was a horrible area to live. But nevertheless, it was always a goal of ours to sort of have a place where the kids could run around and have the kind of lifestyle that sort of I had when I grew up, because Sarah's comes from Grange Park, and although sort of playing out on the street was definitely a nightly event, we wanted somewhere where the girls could play out in the back garden and go to a really good school, because the school over in Blackpool, there was 90 kids per year, whereas now they're in a school that, like I said, is top in the country, and the head mistress of the school actually teaches them goal setting and life skills and personalities and a lot about personal development in the last year, which is absolutely fantastic. And it's not something that is taught in schools. In fact, the school that they were in Leighton was you were struggling to get the curriculum taught over there. So anyway, that's absolutely fantastic. I did put a link in to a blog post that I'd done about smart goal setting, so anybody can go along and have a look at that, and I'll pop it in again for the guys that might have missed that.